Shalom, giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Arachak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the hopeful elect tabernacle of David scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, if this isn't more reason to be suspicious that these dudes clearly sold out, then I don't know what else to tell you. Now, we knew that, this wasn't the end of it. Them teaching, actual Gentile salvation, just doing a complete spin. All right. Backsliding from, the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. And you're seeing this. So now the serpent was a Canaanite man. So now they finna go live and share with you what, Satan himself fed them, or whatever entity they sold out to fed them. All right, it's like as if, somebody handed them a big portfolio or big folder with a bunch of breakdowns in it. And it came with a briefcase, a money bag, because this is getting ridiculous. So now I'm curious to see, how you change your perspective on Revelation, the 20th chapter. That old serpent, which is, the devil and Satan. All right. That which is interchangeable with the dragon, the beast. Revelation 20 refers to the beast as that old serpent. So now you're saying that the serpent is a Canaanite now because of what? The region, because of where the garden was actually placed, eastward in Eden, which is the Fertile Crescent. These dudes are they're gonna wax worse and worse, man. And we're not surprised, all right, at these individuals. As a matter of fact, let me just get this real quick. Let's get Luke 12 and verse I'll start at 1. It says, in the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, and so much that they trode up one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. All right. So obviously things have to be exposed. It all has to come out. And we all know the Lord said every idle word that men must speak, they shall give an account in the day of the judgment. And you're going to be justified by what you say, and you're going to be condemned also by what you say. Luke 8:17, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. And what are the things that shall be made known? What's going to be revealed? The hearts of men. Let's go to Luke 2 and verse 35. I'll start at verse 34. It says, and Simeon blessed them and said unto Mary, his mother, behold, this child is set for the fall and rising again of many in Israel, and for a sign which shall be spoken against. Yea, a sword shall pierce through thy own soul also, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. Let me look up that word revealed. The word there is apocalypto. And it says to uncover, lay open what has been veiled or covered up. And these guys, they've been, keeping these heresies veiled up until they got to where they are now. They had to break away from Sakari, all right, came up quickly with a new name, a new design, a new uniform, and now it's all being uncovered. And then to, you know, tap it off with how, you know, this guy had made statements in the past that, you know, people are starting to bring up about how he literally said that, you know, he would become rich if he started to teach, you know, a Gentile salvation. And now he's actually teaching Gentile salvation, you know, and now he's switching up everything else. So now every other week is going to be a new revelation. No, it ain't. The Most High ain't dealing with this dude. All right, because wisdom will not dwell in a malicious soul. So clearly Satan is feeding him, whether it was through an actual entity, you know, a organization that's higher up that approached them and you know, gave them these teachings, or whether Satan himself came to him. But now it's all being you know, revealed, exposed. All right, it says to uncover, lay open what has been veiled or covered up, disclose, make bare, to make known, make manifest, disclose what before was unknown. All right, and you know, the hearts of men is being disclosed. All right. So this is going to be their latest one. Okay. The serpent was a Canaanite man and not Satan, which we never taught that it was actual, you know, actual Satan, the spiritual demon Satan. We always said that the serpent was a man. How could you read what you read in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, and conclude that that's a spiritual being and not an actual human? Clearly it was a man. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to get this scripture as well. This is King David, because, you know, a lot of guys are showing that they have no integrity. And integrity is very integral in this thing of ours, man. This our faith. If you have any integrity, you're not going to lie against the truth. You're not going to conceal the truth, and you also are not going to sell out. This is Psalm 26. You know what? I ought to read this whole chapter. All right. This is let me go to the New Living Translation. Protestation of integrity and prayer for protection. All right. So there's a Psalm of David. That's starting at the top. It says, "Declare me innocent, O Yahweh, for I have acted with integrity. I have trusted in the Lord without wavering. Put me on trial, Lord, and cross-examine me. Test my motives and my heart." And you seeing with a lot of these guys in Israel now, whether they call themselves bishops or priests, you know, generals, captains, a lot of dudes' motives are being exposed. That a lot of these guys are really not sincere. You got a bunch of hirelings among us. Dudes that are clearly only in it for their own selfish ambition. Ulterior motives, man. You know, whether it be vainglory, gain, monetary gain, filthy lucre. You know, guys in this thing because they're after that corruptible crown. It says, "For I am always aware of your unfailing love, and I have lived according to your truth. I do not spend time with liars or go along with hypocrites," which is why we will not come together with these other camps. You know, it's a lot of hypocrites, a lot of dudes that are, you know, preaching Yahushua out of pretense, you know, out of strife, contention, or they're doing it because, they serve mammon and not the Most High. Hirelings. It says, I hate the gatherings of those who do evil, and I refuse to join in with the wicked. I wash my hands to declare my innocence. I come to you, altar, O Yahweh. All right, and he's basically saying I'm innocent. All right, I would never, sell you out. I would never, sell my soul. Because King David had integrity, and even Apostle Paul. He even told that we are not those who basically water down the truth for monetary gain. All right, 2 Corinthians 2:17 says, for we are not as many which corrupt the word of the Most High, but as of sincerity, but as of the Most High in the sight of God speak we in Yahushai. And of course that word corrupt, all right, kapaluo in the Greek, which means to retail, to peddle, to be a huckster, to sell. It says, you see, we are not like many hucksters who preach for personal profit. We preach the word of the Most High with sincerity and with Yahushai's authority, knowing that the Most High is watching us. All right. And yeah, he's watching everything. His eyes are in every place, beholding the good and the evil. So don't think that any of you dudes is going to get away, man. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 4. In verse 1, it says, therefore, since the Most High in his mercy has given us this new way, we never give up. We reject all shameful deeds and underhanded methods. We don't try to trick anyone or distort the word of the Most High, which a lot of guys are doing because they didn't took the bag. We tell the truth before the Most High, and all who are honest know this. All right, so you got to have integrity in this thing. So going back, it says, verse 6, I wash my hands to declare my innocence. I come to your altar, O Yahweh, singing a song of thanksgiving and telling all of your wonders. I love your sanctuary, Yahweh, the place where your glorious presence dwells. Don't let me suffer the fate of sinners. Don't condemn me along with murderers. Their hands are dirty with evil schemes, and they constantly take bribes. And basically, you are a murderer when you lead your people to destruction by willfully misleading them. Being that wolf in sheep's clothing, taking bribes and devouring the sheep up. Woe to him that scatter, woe to you pastors that scatter the sheep of my pasture. All right. And the Lord's going to visit every last one of you, because now Jake is being confused by all this. You're scattering the sheep, whether you realize it or not. So now they gotta, they're gonna have trust issues, and now they're not gonna know who to believe. The ones that followed you. Some of them are gonna follow you down, that deep, dark pit. But you're gonna have those that's, they seeing, the pattern. And they're gonna basically bounce. Some of them are gonna be like, man, I'm done with this Israelite stuff. These guys are faking it. They're phony. So you're gonna scatter the sheep, doing what you're doing because you sold out. A hireling, man. Now we witnessing all these prophecies come to fruition. We seeing that this beast, this devil. He's making all the moves to roll out the MOTB, to persecute those that are standing on righteousness. He's creating the environment to where there will be a famine of the word. With adding all these different algorithms of censorship. All over social media. things that you're not permitted to speak. They're going to prevent, through these different measures. So this late in the game with this devil, moving closer and closer, you got these guys at the end all of a sudden switching up. They must have came to you with crazy figures. So your hands are dirty, man, and you moving like it. All right, it says their hands are dirty with evil schemes and they constantly take bribes. But I am not like that. Right? And David is basically saying, niggas like y'all, you not like us. All right, they not like us. You niggas, man, you sellouts. All right, because we stand on truth and we have integrity. It says, I live with integrity, so redeem me and show me mercy. Now I stand on solid ground and I will publicly praise Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashak Yahushai, man. So what I want to do is I want to go to the words of a man who himself has shown patterns of selling out, because he would definitely know of what takes place, what happens when you sell out. I mean, this guy, he formed the IUIC, start calling on that C word, Christ, denounced the name of the Father and the Son, and now just plays games with it. He didn't blasphemed it a few times. Then he becomes commercial, popular, global. He's able to jet set. He was clergyman of 2014. He's on this platform and that platform. So we know that this guy has showed so many different patterns that he and his organization sold out. All these Masonic hand gestures and their photos and images. Some of their garments being Masonic. You got Deacon Asaph dancing across a checkered floor, which is Masonic. Dudes marching with Freemasons and Greek fraternities. So, all of the patterns, because the scriptures say by him actions are weighed. So all patterns point to this man selling out. So he would know. So let's listen to, Bishop Nathaniel. Let's hear it out of the horse's mouth, who we believe sold out a long time ago. And it was crazy to see him sit up there and save face as if he's not what he's describing. So let's listen to this real quick. And he's gonna tell you the patterns of those, or the actions of those who sell out. How it's all done, the process. So let's listen.
People that they started ICGJC, Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, 1941 Madison Avenue. Most of those new people there, they didn't know him. So he was able to get away with saying the Holy Spirit came down, and then the elders that were there backed it up, that the Holy Spirit came down and taught him. And we were like, no, he was our junior back at the old school. That's not true. So, but that's what happened. So I was very shocked when I heard that. How did the branch off? The Rosicrucians. The Rosicrucians is they're similar to the Jesuits. And they originally came, I believe it was in the 80s. Because I remember Mashan Yaquab used to tell us, they gave them a blank check and said, we wanted y'all to change the doctrine.
Hear that? You hear that? Let me back it up. It is a specific request, from this entity. He said they handed them a blank check and said, we want you to change the doctrine. And we know that the Most High, he doesn't change. There's no variableness with the Most High. Okay. And it also says, meddle not with them that are given to change. And we always quote that when referring to this guy, the guy that you hear talking, the famous Hollywood Nate. All right. Let's hear him say that again.
Originally came, I believe it was in the 80s. Cause remember, Mashan Yaquab used to tell us they gave them a blank check and said, we wanted y'all to change the doctrine to a more Christian and Jewish doctrine. Get rid of the 12 tribes. Teach everybody's the people of God.
And is that not what Genesis is currently doing? Now, they haven't gotten rid of the 12 tribe sign yet. But I have a feeling, man, the way they're going right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they start attacking the 12 tribe sign. Start going against that, who the tribes actually are. You know? All it takes is that spark of unbelief. You know, when you're not built on solid ground, when you're not rooted and settled in the faith, you know, you're not steadfast, this can happen. All right, you're gonna start moving with the wind. All right, but especially if you know, because if you're not founded and settled, then even money can make you fall away. You know, you're gonna you know, like it says in 1 Timothy the 6th chapter, you know, they that be rich, they fall into temptation and a snare. They, you know, they pierce themselves, they fall away from the faith. So you start to wax worse and worse and worse. And we hope that money was worth it. But this is out of the horse's mouth, because we believe he sold out a long time ago. So of course he would know. Here he's just saving face and throwing other men under the bus. You know? But all these guys been approached. So he said, not only are you to change the doctrine, but you need to start to teach a universal type of doctrine. Everybody can be the people of the Most High. And that's exactly what they're teaching. Now they're saying that, you know, not everybody, you know, as in, you know, not every single person of each nation, but they're basically saying that there's going to be a small select few from out of the heathen nations that's going to make it. No, they're not going to make it, man. No heathen's going to be on that chariot, on the ship. All right. You say otherwise, you're teaching a universal doctrine that all nations can be saved.
Is they're similar to the Jesuits, and they originally came, I believe it was in the 80s. Cause remember, Mashan Yaquab used to tell us they gave them a blank check and said, we wanted y'all to change the doctrine to a more Christian and Jewish doctrine. Get rid of the 12 tribes. Teach everybody's the people of God. And Masha and Yaquab, they were the top guys. They refused. They came back.
So they refused. All right. So that meant that they had integrity. And which, hey, that's spiritual. Because King Masha, all right, let me respect that man's legacy. All right, King Masha, he refused because he had integrity. All right, and you know, King Masha, you know, our faith is that he was King David. Hey, that it matches right up with what he wrote in the 26th Psalm about his integrity, which is what I'm pretty sure he had to break away, and thus that, you know, that you have the house of David. Those that went with him, you know, they learned up under him through the house of David. You're gonna go with where the integrity lives. and not guys who love bribes. The apostles and elders always talk about how, men at that old school, they were money hungry. Guys was willing to take that bribe.
Around the beginning of 95 or end of 94, somewhere there. And little to my knowledge, I didn't know that any money was accepted. I knew there was a lot of stuff going on. And I remember one day, Shaw, at the time we called him High Priest Shaw, he said to a brother named Yaasha, because we had, it was myself, Bishop Yawasop, Yaasha, I'm trying to remember the names, Mike Oliver. We had started Masha Ariel Productions where we had a bank account. And it was meant to support the leadership. And I remember Shaw said, we need that bank account. So Yaasha was a corrections officer. So he said, what you need, why? He said, we got to deposit some money. He said, where's the money coming from? And he said, Shaw said, don't worry about that. So Yaasha said, well, listen, I work for the state. He said, I need to know any type of money that's coming in or out and with a bank account with my name on it, I need to know. So he said, well, we're not going to tell you. So he said, then you can't put it in this account. And there was a big thing about that. I remember that. So later on, I found out the Rosicrucians had given money. Masha didn't want to accept that. So that's when the split happened. He broke off. And
see, going back to Psalm 26, so, I mean, the man had integrity. He had the character of King David. So, and it's all spiritual, okay? Take what you want from that. But it's a reason why the apostles and elders, they stuck with the house of David. Because that man, he had integrity. And look at what King David was writing. He told the Lord to try me, man. Try me in my integrity. That I would never, be a hoe and sell out. All right. So I went, to the chat, right? And I was just like, just give me scriptures on guys who change the doctrine, through bribery. And it says, here are scriptures that directly address people twisting truth, perverting justice, or corrupting God's teachings through bribery. While the Bible may not use the exact phrase, changing the true teachings of the Bible into lies, it very clearly condemns corrupt teachers, false prophets, and bribe judges who distort God's word. And of course, Exodus 23:8, you shall not accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the cause of those who are in the right. All right, bribes literally distort truth and justice. Deuteronomy 16:19, you shall not pervert justice. You shall not show partiality. You shall not accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and twists the words of the righteous. Bribery causes people, even the wise, to twist words and righteousness. Yep, and we're seeing that in real time. All these heresies, man, just coming out of the woodworks. And this ain't the end of it. It's going to continue until the Lord comes back and bring everything into judgment. Okay? And hey, the scriptures say the Most High, he don't think that he don't hear, your little counsels. You having these little secret discussions about these little things that you're going to start rolling out and teaching to mislead people. You better believe the Most High, he already knows. Wisdom of Solomon 1. I'll start at verse 6, and it says, let me start at 5 since I've been mentioning that. It says, verse 5, for the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in. And the spirit of apostasy kicks in. You start to fall away and you start teaching heresies. Okay? Because, greed, strife, covetousness, whatever it may be, that starts to seep in. And that's when, you know, it removes, from your mind, the truth, the wisdom. Okay. And you start to, the spirit basically leaves you, and then unclean spirits, enter in. It says, for wisdom is a loving spirit and will not acquit a blasphemer of his words, for the Most High is witness of his reigns and a true beholder of his heart and a hearer of his tongue. For the spirit of the Lord filleth the world, and that which containeth all things have knowledge of the voice. Therefore he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be hid, neither shall vengeance, when it punisheth, pass by him. For inquisition shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly, and the sound of his word shall come unto the Lord for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. So it's going, hey, the Lord, he already got your number. He already knew what you niggas was gonna bring out before you brought it out. Okay. Going back to the hearts of men being revealed. There shall nothing secret not be made manifest, shall not be hidden. So the Lord puts the spirit on you to make it come forward, to expose your mind, and it proves that you're not of the Lord, man. Okay. And you're just a tool. You're using others who have the same heart, the same mind. All right. Deuteronomy 27 and 25, it says, cursed be anyone who takes a bribe to shed innocent blood. All you niggas is guilty, man. Dude talking about he washed his hands. He washed the blood off his hands. Man, you got so much blood all over your hands, man. 1 Samuel 8 and 3, his sons did not walk in his ways, but turned aside after gain. They took bribes and perverted justice. Going into Eli's wicked sons. Okay, it says leaders abandon God's ways because of greed. Proverbs 17:23, the wicked accept a bribe in secret to pervert the ways of justice. Bribery is linked to wickedness and the perversion of truth. Micah 3 and 11, her leaders judge for a bribe. Her priests, because now he's going by priest now, he's no longer deacon. Her priests teach for a price, and her prophets practice divination for money. Priests and prophets literally corrupted God's teachings for payment. Okay. Hey, if you're not doing this for money, Hakah, shut down your little varsity thing or your little Genesis, website where you're charging for these teachings. Teach everything that if you gotten all this for free and you didn't sell out, you didn't get a bag of pay, then do everything that you're doing for free. Don't monetize nothing. No Patreon. All right, none of that. Do it freely. I dare you. You ain't gonna do that. It says this one is especially close to your request. Priests and prophets change God's message in exchange for money. That's come on, man. It's obvious. It's what they do. Because like Paul warned to Timothy, the love of money is the root of all evil. Okay. Matter of fact, let me just get it. He that Proverbs 28, he that hasteth to be rich have an evil eye. So what do you think they're gonna do? Niggas all falling for the same reward of Balaam. They're going in the era of Balaam after reward. First Timothy 6 and Let me just go to the KJV. Yeah, 1 Timothy 6:9, and it says, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drawn men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith. All right, you're going to start erring from the faith, giving heed to doctrine of the devils. Okay, following after that money, following after a certain lifestyle that you envy, and pierce themselves through with many sorrows. All right, and you dudes, y'all not gonna sleep well. I'm gonna just tell you that right now, man. You dudes are not gonna sleep well. Okay? Because how could you feel right with yourself knowing what the hell you're doing? Even Judas Iscariot, man, he he didn't sleep well after he did what he did. 30 pieces of silver, man. Was that really worth it? Apparently to him, he was like, hell no, that wasn't worth it, man. I sold the Lord out. He couldn't live with himself any longer after that. So, yeah, man. So, expect for this behavior, man. They're going to continue. They're not going to stop. All right. All these different new revelations and teachings and breakdowns. These guys clearly have been approached. Okay. Clearly. And he can easily come out and make a video, but for some reason, he just continuing to move on with the teachings. He's not going to come out and address some of the things that people are saying. Because I'm pretty sure maybe some people are sitting on receipts that you said some of these things. And we know the type of character you are. You do love money. So, yeah, man. So, stay tuned, right? This is what he's saying. All right, basically, he's about to come with more heresy. So, like Paul said, if any man or even an angel, preach another doctrine, another gospel, let them be accursed. So you already know what time it is, man. And I'm gonna end on that note. I'm gonna give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And to the next one, Shalom.